सृष्ट्वा अग्रे महत् आधीनि सृष्ट्वाग्रे महदादीनि सविकाराणि अनुक्रमा सविकाराण्यनुक्रमा तेभ्यः विराजम् उद्धृत्य तेभ्यो विराजम् उद्धृत्य तम् अनु प्राविशत् विभुः तम् अनु प्राविशद् विभुः सृष्ट्वाग्रे महदादीनि सविकाराणि अनुक्रमा तेभ्यो विराजम् उद्धृत्य तम् अनु प्राविशद् विभुः Some new bhaktas. Shrushtva, after creating Agre, in the beginning, Mahat Adhini, the total material energy, Savikarani, along with the sense organs, Anukraman, by a gradual process of differentiation, Tebhyaha, out of that, Virajam, the gigantic universal form, Udrutya, manifesting, Tam, unto that, Anu, later, Pravisha, entered, Vibhuhu, the Supreme. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation: after creating the total material energy, the mahat-tattva, and thereby manifesting the gigantic universal form with senses and sense organs, the Supreme Lord entered within it. Please repeat. After creating the total material energy, the mahat-tattva, and thereby manifesting the gigantic universal form with senses and sense organs, the Supreme Lord entered within it. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Fully satisfied by the answers of the sage Maitreya, Vidura wanted to understand the remaining portions of the creative function of the Lord, and he took the clue from the previous topics. I will read one more verse. Yamahu Adhyam Purusham Sahasrangri Urubahukam. Yatra incarnation lying on the causal ocean is called the original Purusha in the material creations. And in his Virat form, in whom all the planets and their inhabitants live, he has many thousands of legs and hands. Purport: the first Purusha is Karanodakashaya Vishnu, the second Purusha is Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, and the third Purusha is Shirodakashaya Vishnu, in whom is contemplated the Virat Purusha, the gigantic form in which all the planets with their different developments and inhabitants are floating. Dasanasta Bhaktivedanta Parapotho Madhyana Timirandhasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Ena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Shatadeshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ramo Hare Ramo Rama Ramo Hare Hare. So after glorifying the service to the pure devotees, Vidura is now coming back to the topics connected to the universal form and to the creative functions of the Lord. How the Lord has created this universe. That's called creative function of the Lord. Lord has many functions. Although there is no force on him, he has no prescribed duty like that, but still he assumes all these functions as part of his Leela in order to facilitate the living entity's desire to enjoy in this world, and also simultaneously an opportunity is given to go back to him. So behind the creation there are two purposes. One is to give opportunity to satisfy their desires, perverted desires. And one more purpose is that they are simultaneously given an option to perfect their lives and return to the Supreme Lord. So Vidura is very curious, very eager to understand these creative functions of the Supreme Lord. Devotees in the beginning stages, they have to be curious about these creative functions. Prabhupada always used to remind us that there is a category of devotees, so-called devotees, who are known as sahajiyas. They don't show any interest in this creative function. They think these are all not required for them. They directly jump to the Lord's intimate leelas. But the Lord's leelas in this material world, in creating this material world, are as good as is dancing with Radharani or kissing the gopis. These two functions are transcendentally same. This is called absolute platform. So in the mind, if you materially discriminate the laws, these various leelas of the Lord, that shows that we don't have proper understanding of the absolute platform. So that's why Vidura, he knows this. But for the sake of neophytes like us, he is asking these questions and seeking clarifications. Sometimes devotees may think, what is this? We have to hear about this mahat-tattva, some elements and this and that. Why not I focus on something more important or something more interesting? Actually, these functions show one important quality of the Supreme Lord. What is that? He is so merciful and kind to the living entities. Why is it that he is very kind? You see how much functions he is doing in order to manifest this world. How much the Lord is involved Now, why the Lord has to be involved in this creation of the universe? Yes, out of His affection for the living entities, out of His kindness. And also, one important point we have to understand is that matter is jada. It can never increase or decrease on its own. It is called jada. This padartha, this substance is like that. So if the matter has to grow, increase and become various manifestations, that means there has to be life. We have an experience in our day-to-day life. If there is no life inside, this body doesn't grow. It's called dead body, and in fact it starts deteriorating, decays, and then again mixes back into the pool of matter. So similarly, if there has to be manifestations and activity and all that excitement, there has to be life. So originally, the supreme life in the form of these Vishnus, they enter into this matter. So that's why here it is said Srustva Agre, in the beginning of the Srishti creation. Of course, the atheistic theory, we all know, they don't believe in a creator. They think this matter automatically got organized itself into a fascinating universe, the way we see in front of us. So that's why it is emphasized. Matter cannot assume its own form and then become all these interesting things. It requires a spiritual touch. It requires a living entity's touch. In the beginning of the supreme living entity is involved, but the further manifestations, Krishna has given an option for the tiny living entities also to manipulate this matter. So that's why it is very important that matter cannot move on its own. It cannot assume forms on its own. If you see some things are coming up, let us say in this temple, recently one staircase has come up. And if somebody thinks it's all happening automatically, accidentally, then the people who are working behind that, what will he think? Similarly, this whole creation is done by Krishna, and then if you say it all came accidentally and there is no, there is nobody behind, actually you can see how foolish or atheistic such thinking is. Okay, so here that's why Swastvagre Mahadadhini, the first thing that creation that happened is the total material energy. That's called mahat-tattva. The original form of all matter is mahat-tattva. For example, all these manifestations we are seeing, there is cement, there are brick, there are sand, this, that, and all this, so many things are there. At the time of dissolution, all these manifestations will be crushed into and made it into the original matter that is called mahat-tattva. Again, everything goes back to it. So the original source is there for the matter. So that's why here it is said, Sa Vikarani Anukraman. That original matter, Vikaras, there will be Prabhupada's translation, Sa Vikarani means along with the sense organs. So from that original matter, it gets molded, and there is a gradual process by which all these varieties starts coming. So that's why it is said Sa Vikarani Anukrama. Anukrama means gradual process of differentiation. Original matter has no differentiation. It's a primordial matter. Actually that's called Pradhana. Sometimes it is also referred to as mahat-tattva. But then how do you see these varieties? So from the original matter, some basic varieties will be created. And what is those basic varieties? The 24 elements, which includes sense organs, which includes these elements, everything comes. And from that original matter, these elements come. Krishna enters into those elements also, because they are also jada. He has to enter into the elements also to energize them, the way we see as if there is an excitement in these elements. When people see gold, you can see so much excitement. Actually it's a jada, but still there is some excitement is there, because the Lord enters into it. It appears as if they are real, these elements. Why? Because in the spiritual world also there are elements, and they are all real. They really exist. But in this world, they exist as shadow. They are all shadow elements. But nonetheless, they require energizing. That's why Krishna enters into those elements. In the previous chapter we have seen, he enters into these elements, and he also takes with him one energy called the time energy, time, also known as Kali. So she also, he's been involved, because she has to manage further creation, Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Rekha. She has to manage the further Srishti and maintenance and destruction. So Krishna is involving his energy, very powerful energy, Kali, external energy, Durga. She takes care of the rest of the things. But he has to enter into the elements, and he has to bring his energy. Jai Radha Govinda. So the curtain has not came out accidentally. Suddenly curtain has exact time, it is moving automatically, but the many energies are working. So that's why here it is said, Savikarani Anukramat. Vikaras comes, transformations happen, and these elements manifest. And then what happens? Tebhyaha virajam udrutya. After the elements came in, then comes the massive manifestation called virajam, that is the gigantic universal form. Huge body has been created. Virata Rupa. It has a Rupa. And what is that huge body? It has sense organs, senses. Everything is there. It's a personality. So, Tebhyo Virajam Udrutya. Personality means body. Framework is created. But the universal framework is there. There is a structure. For our body also there is a structure. Actually, if you analyze yourself, very nicely you can understand many of these shlokas. But only thing is that don't think those descriptions and our situation is same. There is a massive proportion. Entire Vishwa has a Rupa, has a structure, and that structure is having senses, hands, legs, eyes, all those things. That structure is also having. Tam anu, into that pravishat vibhu. Now into that Virat Rupa, the Lord enters. So you can see. So the first creation in this Vishwa is this structure, the first body. Huge, gigantic body. Now how is that body looks, or how is that body described? Yam ahuhu adhyam purusham. He is saying, the first Purusha who is lying down on the causal ocean is called the original Purusha of the creation. And then what is that Vishwarupa? It has Sahasra Angri Urubahukam. It has got thousands of hands and thousands of legs. That's why in our Purusha Sukta, there is a Purusha Sukta glorifying this Purusha. It's a Sahasraksha Sahasrapad. What is that? Sahasra Shirsha Purushaha Sahasraksha. Everything is thousands and thousands. There's a personality. He is Vishwarupa. He is also known as Hiranyamaya. In the last chapters we have seen. He is actually one more aspect of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So he has been glorified. Sahasrangri Urubahukam Yatra Vishwa Ime Loka. Now in this universal form, Ime Loka, all these planets, Savikasam Ta Asate, all these planets are situated. So in the Lord's Vishwa Rupa, there are so many planetary systems are there, and in that all the living entities live, and that Virat Rupa has many thousands of legs and hands. This is what it is. The description of the Virat Rupa is. Exactly like in our body also, there are colonies of living entities. In the stomach there is a colony called, the modern scientists they'll say gut bacteria. Gut means here only, which is responsible for releasing various juices or whatever and digest the food that we eat. So in our body itself you can see innumerable living entities are living. But this is not an unusual system. The system originally started with Virat Rupa. Within that Rupa we are all living. Within us there something else is living. You can see. So the original system of how the life has to exist in this universe is been decided and created like this. So systematic. That's why it is called Anukrama. There is a gradual process. It's a process. Slowly, one by one, one by one. From Karanodakshaya Vishnu, we know Garbhodakshaya Vishnu came. It is said that when he enters the universe, he remains there lying down for 1000 celestial years. Along with him comes a set of living entities who have to live in this universe. So first of all, mahat-tattva. And into the mahat-tattva, the Karanodakshaya Vishnu injects all the living entities. That's the total living entities are there. Now in that there is one universe created. So Vishnu enters there. Along with Vishnu, some living entities are also allocated to this universe. They also enter. They all lie there for 1000 celestial years. And then comes the first living entity, Brahma, because Brahma has to do so much of tapas, 1000 celestial years. Then Brahma comes. And then from Brahma takes all these living entities, puts them into these machines, little machines, puts them into little planets, and then activities begin. See, there is a gradual anukrama, there is a gradual process in which so systematically things are organized from the day one. So we should never think that things will happen automatically. Matter has to be molded, pushed. If the manifestation has to be, otherwise, time particularly has one important function of the time that is revealed in Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna, when he sees this Vishwarupa, so Krishna has exhibited the Vishwarupa. In the 11th chapter you will see. So that means Krishna has the Vishwarupa, he exhibited the Vishwarupa. That means Krishna is superior. Krishna is the origin for the Vishwarupa. It's not that Vishwarupa has created a little personality called Krishna. No. Krishna may appear to be like an ordinary human being. That's why Shastra says, Guda Manusha Rupena. Guda means he appears to be like that. But actually he is not Manusha. Why? Because he exhibited, he created the Vishwarupa. So that we have seen in the 11th chapter. So when Arjuna sees that many things are happening, things are getting moved, including all the armies are entering into the mouth and all that, then he becomes very fearful and asks, who are you? Then he says, I am Kalosmi. I am the time. Kalosmi Lokakshaya Krut. And I have come here to destroy the material world. So there is one energy of Krishna, Kali, Kala, time, whose only function is to go on destroying. Apparently over the time things are growing and then another 6 transformations are there. But that is done by the material energy. But the Kala goes on destroying. And one of the, because the Kala is like that, things deteriorate. Over the time things will only deteriorate. You cannot say why. That's the function of the time. Oh, goes on deteriorating. Unless again endeavor is put to keep them intact. For example, sometimes devotees may create some nice systems. A HOD may create a nice system. And 1 or 2 days you close your eyes, immediately you will see things starts deteriorating. Kala, that is what it is. Krishna himself establishes Dharma, but then over the time, Dharma Saglani. Slowly those rules, what and all the fantastic rules that Krishna sets up, starts deteriorating. Dharmasya glani bhavati bharata, abudhyanam adharmasya. Then when this deterioration increases to too much, adharma is too much, then again personally Lord has to come, again set it back. Sir, now you go on. So you can see how very closely Krishna is involved. He has created mahat-tattva, elements he enters, atoms he enters into everything. And then he is given an opportunity for the jivas. Okay, now you play with this matter. And then the jivas enter into this matter, they think, I am the controller. I am the Lord of all I survey. I am the number one. I want to be the number one. I want to be the big. I want to be the massive. Because they want to say, basically imitate Krishna's position. Krishna, the way he can manipulate matter, the way he can manufacture, the way he can do, nobody can do. You see how perfectly he has created this Vishwarupa. We cannot create. So they are trying to create some robots and this and that, but they will be very poor imitations. So we should to appreciate Krishna's creative functions. Devotees can plunge into these verses, nicely, deeply analyze how the whole universe is been created. How this gradual anukramat, what is this gradual process? Let me understand. So this is the devotee's interest. Intelligent devotee, he wants to research, not like karmis research, not like the so-called the scientist research. They research Srimad Bhagavatam. How they should research so that they can preach to the scientists and say, look, this is how the creation has happened. Prabhupada wanted preaching to the scientists. That's why he created a special organization, Bhaktivedanta Institute, He created a wing in which devotees can develop their expertise to read and assimilate these great scriptures, ancient wisdom, and then bring the modern mind to understand and to accept these teachings. So that will be a great service. The devotees should take advantage of this ancient wisdom, nicely assimilate this, and then convince the modern mind. Otherwise, they think matter is moving and matter is transforming automatically and things are coming out automatically. This is what they think. Hearing Bhagavatam means gradually we'll come to proper understanding. Gradually we'll come to Sattva-guna, and gradually our understanding becomes more and more clear. Any questions? Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
హరే కృష్ణ గోల్డెన్ టెంపుల్ వారి మరో అపురూప కానుక హరే కృష్ణవాణి ఆధ్యాత్మిక మాసపత్రిక. ఇప్పుడు మొబైల్ యాప్ ద్వారా కూడా సులభంగా పత్రికలు చదువుకునే సౌకర్యం, వార్షిక సభ్యత్వం, భగవద్గీత, భాగవత ప్రవచనాలు, స్ఫూర్తి సందేశాలు, ఇంకా మరెన్నో సదుపాయాలతో హరే కృష్ణవాణి మొబైల్ యాప్ నేడే డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకోండి. మరిన్ని వివరాల కోసం కాల్ చేయండి 9133107700.